This might be the scariest thing I've ever done in my life. And I feel like I'm a pretty big risk taker, but going on the internet and talking about all of your miscarriages is a little scary. But here we go. Hey everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel, After the Storm. My name is Michelle, and I was thinking, like, it was pretty cocky of me to call this After the Storm in the world of miscarriage. The miscarriage is like the turbulence, right? It's the storm. It's the thing that was really hard. The baby itself is not your storm. I don't think that my children were stormy. Who's Stormy? One of the Kardashian kids is Stormy. That's not my kid. And so after the storm, if you choose to try again and you are able to have another child or have a living child, then that's your rainbow baby. And so this is after the storm because, like, I did the storm. Like, I told the universe, I'm like, I'm good. Like, God, thank you. The grief of losing my children will never be gone. It's always there. It's like how they say, it's like a brick you carry in your pocket. Sometimes you notice the brick more than others. Some days I notice my brick a lot, and other days it's not as heavy. My goal in creating this channel and my Instagram page really was because when I was going through my grief, when it was really, really, really new, I was surrounded by people and I felt completely isolated and alone. It's the loneliest feeling. So a brief background on me is I have one living child. She's going to be 3 in October. And I got pregnant with her after 7 months of trying. I have got to be on progesterone 3 days past ovulation, and then either until I get a negative pregnancy test or unless I'm pregnant, then I just take it until the end of the first trimester. But I have a luteal phase defect, so I don't produce a whole lot of progesterone because I'm broken. You're not supposed to say that, like, my body's not broken. It's just, it's a different model. Maybe it's an older model. My pregnancy with my daughter was a dream. It was so perfect. I know, like, blah. But it was perfect. It was easy. I loved it. I love being pregnant. And she was an easy delivery. I didn't have an epidural. I filmed a video on, like, giving birth to her, and I'm gonna post it at some point. We got pregnant after one try with my first miscarriage. So again, I thought, and actually when I got pregnant after our first month of trying, I thought, oh, hallelujah. Like, you know what I don't love doing? Ovulation tests and tracking and the whole thing. Like, that's a pain in the ass. Like, woohoo, I only had to do it 1 month. And, like, we're good. Because I thought, I think we'll only have 2 kids, maybe 3. Now at this point, I'm like, unless I freeze eggs and do, like, IVF, pretty sure it's just gonna be 2, maybe, hopefully. No, I'm putting it out there. When I have my second kid, who will be alive. I didn't get a positive pregnancy test until 12 days past ovulation, and it was super faint. I tested every day. It's like starting at 7. I'm just like, why? So I was like, oh, it's a little late for it to show up, but it's still within normal. But then, like, the tests weren't getting very dark. And then I started spotting, but I spotted with my daughter. So I was like, oh, okay, like, it'll be okay. I spotted with her less than 24 hours, then it was fine. But this spotting turned into light bleeding, which turned into heavy bleeding, which made me call. I was out of town. So we normally live in Florida, and then I was in Missouri when my husband was in China during the pandemic for his job. And he came back, and, like, the next month, yeah, we were pregnant. And because I was like, tick fucking tock, dude, like, we are not, like, we're aging by the moment. So I had to call and find a gynecologist, and was as we're like getting ready to move back to Florida. And luckily they saw me. I was 5 weeks. I was like, I'm bleeding, and I'm pretty sure like that's not great. And they're like, oh, it's probably, it happens all the time. Like, you're fine. And they took my HCG and my progesterone, and HCG, I was like, well, it's within range, because there's a big freaking range. Of course it's in range, basically. And then progesterone was low. I was already on 400 milligrams of progesterone at the time. And then this doctor bumped it up to 600, like completely just doing my own thing. And went back, and HCG was not doubling. It was close to every 4 days is what it was reading. And I went in at like 8 weeks and did an ultrasound. I kind of knew what was coming, and they saw a little baby with a little heartbeat. It was like 74 or something, and it was measuring behind. Baby was like 6 weeks and 2 days or something. And the sweet little ultrasound technician's like, well, maybe your dates are off. And I was like, this bitch tracks. My dates are not off. Like, trust me. Like, I know. So I cried. I'm so dehydrated. I cried a lot. And went home and was like, okay, I'm going to go back in a week, and they're going to make sure. One way or the other, we're going to get some more information in a week. And I went back in a week, hoping against hope, after searching message board after message board, that some miracle was going to happen. And it's like my least favorite words is the heart has stopped beating. And I've heard that twice about my children. Sorry. Should have brought tissue out to go get some. That's not what you want to hear somebody say about your child. But that's what they said. And I got put in a little room, and the doctor was in a delivery. So I had to wait there for like 45 minutes until she came in, and she was like, okay, so here are your choices. You can wait it out, you can do a DNC, or you can take a pill. She loved the choice of DNC. She was like, that's what we normally do. We get in there, we get out, you can test the fetal material. So I said, okay, yeah, let's do a DNC. I've read so many horror stories about people taking the pill or trying to pass it naturally and not passing everything and needing to go and do a DNC anyway. And I was like, I've already been spotting since 4 weeks, 4 days. We're at 9 weeks and some change. Like, I've been bleeding for so long, on and off. By the end, I wasn't bleeding anymore, so I thought I was going to be okay. Nope, sure wasn't. And then I went home, and the next day they called me and said, hey, you're scheduled for tomorrow morning. And it was just very fast. A DNC was easy. You go in, they say you just take a really short, good nap, and then it's all done, and everything came back normal. I don't know if they tested for the sex. I didn't ask. I don't think I was in the place where I could have asked. Like that, because I was just kind of like, okay, well, this didn't happen. It's not real if I don't know details. And so I don't know. I have a feeling it was a girl, but who knows? It could have been an owl. And then with my second loss, we got pregnant 3 months after trying, on our third try, and I was freaking thrilled. And I was like, this is great. This is going to be wonderful. My lines were so dark on my tests. I got a positive, I want to say at 9 days past ovulation. It was really faint on an FRER, but it was there. And everything was looking good. And then less than a week later, I started spotting, and I was like, son of a bitch. Like, this can't happen again. Like, it can't. Like, this much pain can't happen to one person. Like, surely there's a limit. And I remember when I wiped and I saw blood, and I looked in the bathroom mirror at my face, and I looked like so worn. I looked so haggard, and just like, it was just the look of somebody going through trauma. And I remember I was watching Bridget Jones's Baby at the time, because I didn't let myself watch pregnancy stuff or like get into pregnancy stuff until I was pregnant. I don't know why. Like, I had to earn it. Like, that's bullshit. So right now, because I'm not even actively trying to get pregnant yet, because I'm doing so much testing, but I'm like, fucking bring on the pregnancy stuff. Like, get it in my field of energy. Like, okay, like every time I see a pregnant woman, I'm like, yes, queen, like, go get it. Like, that's a sign for me. Like, this is very selfish. Like, this lady's just living her life, and I'm like, you exist to bring me joy. But sometimes seeing pregnant women makes me want to flip tables. So like, it just depends on the day I'm having. So I started spotting, and I really just turned into like a fucking lunatic. And I called my original OB here, who I had for my daughter, for my first pregnancy. And I was like, hey, I'm pregnant. They're like, oh my God, congrats. I'm like, yeah. So I'm bleeding, and I've had a miscarriage, and I have a history, and I'm older. I was 37. And so like, you need to get me in for blood work. And they were like, yeah, we just can't do that. I'm sure you can. I'm sure there's a button you have that you can do that. And they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't do it. And I hung up, and I called my primary care physician, and I said, you need to get me in for progesterone and an HCG, like, now. And they were like, oh, like, we don't feel comfortable doing that because we're not, you know, an OB's office. So, and I was like, oh my Jesus Louises, like, and then I just hung up on them and went to the internet and went into like what you're expecting, what's to happen, what to expect when you're expecting, and typed in like, I need blood work ASAP. Where can I go? I'm in the United States. And I don't always say thank God for the internet, but thank God for the internet. Somebody said, go to LabCorp, which you can do, because I was able to order quantitative HCG, so I would know my numbers, and I could schedule them 2 days apart. So I did that. But to do my progesterone, I had to go through walkinlabs.com. And I'm not like promoting anything. I'm just telling you what I did. Like, I'm not a doctor. Don't do these things and then get mad at me if something happens. I haven't like vetted these companies. But when you're in blind desperation and you want to save your child, like, you're gonna go on the black market and find progesterone. You're gonna find some kind of fertility, something that's gonna help you out. Oh, so I went in, and I was like, yeah, I felt like, what's the movie where he goes like, I'm the captain. I was like, I'm the doctor now. Like, it's me. Like, I'm doing it. Like, if all y'all aren't gonna help me, like, I will help myself. So I went in and I did my labs, and my numbers looked freaking fantastic. I'm gonna put them on the screen because they more than doubled. I don't remember off the top of my head. You think I would remember. And for a while I did know. And now I've just got new numbers that are in my head from all the testing. So, and my progesterone was fine. Oh, and that was the thing. Like, my OB here, my former OB was like, I mean, I'll prescribe it to you, but it doesn't really matter. It won't save your baby. And then like, when I miscarried, he's like, see, I told you. Like, oh, thanks. Thank you. That's very helpful. And so my numbers looked great. And I stopped spotting after like a week and a half, almost 2 weeks. And I thought like, oh, good, we're good. I had an ultrasound at 7 weeks, and I held my breath. It was like 7 weeks, 4 days, and baby measured perfect. So good. Heart rate was great. Everything was wonderful. Like, I got a printout of it. I didn't get a printout of my baby the other time when they were like, it's probably not gonna survive. Like, we're not gonna give you a picture. This time I got a picture. I could put it in the scrapbook. I put it up on the fridge to like remind myself that I'm pregnant and I have a healthy baby. Fast forward, and I had all the symptoms. I was nauseous. I was nauseated. I was all bloated. I had really messed up dreams. Like I had very sensitive bosoms, and I thought we were great, especially after seeing the ultrasound. I went in and we did NIPT testing. We did blood work, and it came back great. Low risk for all the trisomy things they test for. We found out it was a boy. I was so excited to get a boy. And the next morning, my mom was watching our daughter, and my husband and I were going to the doctor to see the NT scan. And it was gonna be a great opportunity to see our son. I remember we were talking about baby names and like had really like kind of decided on one. And the ultrasound technician was so sweet. And I was like, yeah, we just found out it's a boy. It's so great. And I sat down and she's looking hard. Now, I'm not thinking anything's gonna go wrong at this point. I just got test results back less than 24 hours ago that he was perfect. And so I'm like, ow. That's hard on my abdomen, ma'am. And I have a retroverted uterus. Here's another thing you know about me now. And so I was like, oh, sometimes it's tricky. You got to take like out the dildo cam. And if you don't know what a dildo cam is, it's exactly what I said. It's like a dildo with like a GoPro hot glued on it, and they just shove it in there, and it was good to see what's inside. And so she's like, yes, let's do that. Let's do a transvaginal ultrasound. So go empty your bladder and then come back. I was like, okay, good, because they make you hold your pee so they can do the other ultrasound, and I really had to go. So I went and I came back, and she's like, who's your doctor again? And I was like, oh, who's this one? She's like, oh, just because it's kind of a big practice. Anyway, I have to go pee now. And I'm like, great, have fun. Like, not thinking, well, that's weird. Like, you're doing your job. Like, you can wait after me and then go. Again, I'm just not in it. I'm just not thinking anything's going to be wrong. And she goes away, and I'm sitting there with no pants on, chatting with my man. And we're like, I think we kind of decided on a name. Like, how exciting. Now, remember, my husband was like on his phone playing solitaire. Like, that's how relaxed we were. We were just chatting, like, where do you want to go to breakfast? And like, this is so cool. Like, and we'll film the gender reveal tonight, and that's going to be really great. And we'll send it out to our families. And then the door opens, and she comes in, and my doctor's like rushing in. I was like, oh, like, that's weird. Again, not thinking it's really bad when the doctor comes in to the ultrasound. I'm not there. And so he sits down at the like computer, and she gets the dildo cam and does her thing. And I don't feel like I can joke. Like, the air in the room just kind of shifted, and I was like, okay, like, I guess he just has to do something, and it has to be quiet time now. And he asks, like, check this ovary, check the heartbeat. And I remember thinking, like, oh, good, there's a heartbeat, because he asked to hear it or see it. And he goes, okay, that's enough. And then just turns around and goes, I'm so sorry, there's no more heartbeat. And I remember there was a poster on the wall. I was staring at the poster, and I'm like, oh, this is the part of the dream when I wake up. But then why aren't I waking up? It was very weird. It was very surreal. It didn't feel like anything made sense, because it didn't make sense. And I sat up, and I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I didn't even cry. I was just like, huh? Like, no. Like, we just got our results back yesterday that our son is great and healthy and fine. And he's just like, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. But it's over. I mean, he didn't say that, but that's what it was. And he's like, okay, like, get dressed and I'll talk to you guys. And then we were in a room. and talking about next steps again. And I said, I don't want, this was 7 months after my first loss. And I said, I don't want another D&C. I just had surgery. And this doctor doesn't like to do D&Cs, so they're all different. He said, don't worry, I don't want to do that unless I absolutely have to. You can have the pill. I remember being in the bathroom that night. I waited till I put my daughter to bed, and having the pills in my hand and just saying to my son, like, I know your spirit's not there. I know you're not in me, but I'm so sorry. But I'm so sorry that I have to do this. I felt like I was killing him. Even though I wasn't. I didn't want to do it. Oh, I had to take a little water break. That was not fun. But that's why I'm doing this channel, is I want to be as real and honest and vulnerable as I can be with something like this, because it sucks. My goal is to create this community for us to share and talk and grieve, but also laugh. Like, we need more humor. We've done so much hard stuff. We've done so much crying and so much sadness, and it's not over. After the storm doesn't mean, and then you're better, and then no more tears. Oh, there's a Band-Aid. It's just shifting that grief into something more manageable. It's connecting. I think connection is the biggest thing that I'm trying to create. I see you. I see you. I see you. I'm so sorry for your pain. I want to help. Talk to me. Tell, like, in the comments below, let me know as much or as little about your story as you want to share, and I'm going to read it. And you're going to be heard, and your little baby or your babies will be heard. I'm excited to get to spend however many months it takes for me to get testing, get treatment, get knocked up. And then if I do get knocked up, then maybe this is going to be a pregnancy after a loss channel. Hopefully for the full 40 weeks with a good, healthy baby on the other side. Yes, please. Please make that happen. All right. I love you guys. This is tough stuff. And we are freaking warriors. We are super freaking strong for getting through this. Thank you so much for taking time to watch this. I would love for you to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and then hop on over to Instagram and find me over there. And I make some silly reels because you gotta have humor. I cannot emphasize enough that this is a channel about the reality of what we're going through with life, with miscarriage and after miscarriage. I keep saying after, like, because I'm done, but with miscarriage. But it's also going to have a ton of hope in it, and it's going to have humor in it, and it's going to have positivity in it, because that's who I am, and that's what I want you guys to feel like is accessible to you at all times. We're gonna get through all of this stuff, and it's gonna be awesome, and there's going to be caffeine at the end because I really miss it. And there you go. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time.